Hello folks, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the new privateer press models, the Throne of Everblight to be exact. The model has been released for about a month. It took us a while to get one. So it's one of the new battle engines for hordes, and as you can see it's a rather large box for privateer press, and to be honest it's a rather large model as well. If we open the box, you'll see, which I think is probably the standard box contents for the battle engines. There's a foam tray on top to protect it, and all the pieces inside. You can see the large 5-inch base that will hold the battle engine, about the size of a compact disc. There's a box with different pieces. And then there's all the big gubbins that will make up the throne. I'm going to spread these out on the table and I will see you back in a moment. Okay, and here we are again. All 36 pieces of the throne. Taking you through them at a quick pace. The 3 parts that form the upper body. Then there's the tentacles that go in at the sides. And there's a nice little feature here that each side has a letter carved into them, A, B, C, D. So the same letter you will find back in the tentacle, so you know exactly which one goes where. From the tentacles, 3 of them will actually lean on the base. And you can see, I hope it comes over clearly on the camera, that this side is flat and it goes on the base, and it will have 3 of the large tentacles on the base. There's another. So that should give it a really firm hold on the base, even for its really tall size. Then we have the tongue, which comes out of the larger maw. It rests on the base as well. The lower jaw. We have 6 claw-shaped things. These are the ones that go on top of the throne, and they fit quite well. They go onto that like here, onto here like that. Then we have 4 different shaped claws. These are the ones that go onto the end of the tentacles. Seeing it, I think it would be a wise idea to put a pin in them. But they do look like they can be pinned quite easily, luckily. The shapes are, you can see there's already a little hole in there, and there's a little dent in the tentacle itself. So you'll know exactly where to pin. And you shouldn't have too much issues with getting grip with the drill, because the hole is in the metal part. So your drill won't be slipping on here, and the plastic is really soft. So if you have your drill on a low spin count, it'll grip in quite easily. Then we have a bunch of small pieces on 2 little sprues. Those are the teeth and the spines. And they go, for example, into the lower jaw of the main body. 6 teeth here. The upper jaw already comes with the teeth modeled in. And finally we have the little sorceress, which looks okay. I'm not too fond of her facial expression, the shouting, the screaming, but the model itself is nice. Although I still think I'll probably be putting veil on top of the thingy, just because it would look so much more awesome. Privateer Press did a couple of nice things with this kit. For example, you can see here the top of the first part of the upper body. It has 4 holes in it, and one of them has a little bolt on it. And if you look at the bottom side, the part that goes up on there, it has those shapes in it as well. So not only is it easy to see exactly where it should fit, it should also be really easy to put a magnet in here cut this away with a rotary tool and put a little magnet in there, and it shall snip together quite perfectly. And for transportation, because this model is going to be really large, this is just the upper body, and you're going to get the tentacles along with that, so it's going to be about this height, and then you're going to have the sorcerers on top. By magnetizing it, you can just take this part off and store it separately in your case or whatever you use to transport your army. Almost the same system applies to the two top parts. We have a circle with the blotches, and on the other side we have the indentations, so it can only fit in one way. Small problem here is that in the center there is this piece of plastic which is part of the casting process, which you'll have to cut away. However, not a really big deal, because as these two parts are going to sit on each other and don't come loose, you don't have to be too careful. If you cut away a bit too deep, it won't matter, because it'll be sitting on top of the other part. So, taking a closer look at the model, I think Privateer Press has had quite some trouble with its plastic jack kits, but I am really impressed with the quality of this plastic kit. If you look at the tentacles, for example, I will hold one up close, you'll see that there's a lot of texture in the skin as well as in the scales. It looks really good. There's some nasty mold lines all over it, and slightly problematic, there's these pieces of plastic in between. You'll have to cut them away very carefully not to damage the rest of the plastic, and also file it down so you won't see it anymore, which then brings the risk of removing too much of the texture around it. But all in all, there's very nice details on these parts. You can see it as well on the middle piece of the upper body. It's the metal part with the flesh underneath. I was slightly disappointed, but maybe that's just my twisted mind, to not see some human shapes like a face or a hand pressing into it. After all, the thing eats the battlefield victims whole, and it would have been a really spooky addition onto the model. So then we have one final piece, which is the card. Each model comes with one. Most people have probably already seen either the card or the statistics of the model in the book. I think it's an okay model, but I think, at least in our gaming group, battle engines have had a hard time finding a space in War Machine lists, because they cost as much as a jack, but often they don't bring the impact that a jack does. And I think Hordes suffers a bit more from this syndrome, as the battle engines do not create fury. The Warlock can't leech from it, obviously, and it can't transfer damage to it. So you're taking the points of a beast, but not getting any of the many benefits that a beast would bring to a Warlock. Aside that, there's a couple of casters I can see using it. I'm personally planning on using it with Rias. That might make for an interesting list. But aside Rias, maybe Epic Veil, I don't see many lists in which it will be a great addition. Though nonetheless, it will be a really nice model just to have on the table, because the big size, the excellent quality of the model will make for an eye catcher. Well, all in all, I think it is a really nice model, and I can't wait to put it on the field. I would love to see some of your comments and your opinions about it in the responses on the forums, and we'll see you next time, folks.